Besides Spider-Man No Way Home, the one thing that kept creeping into the back of my head recently was Sky. I wanted to just zone out and fly around, taking it all in. I was waiting for that moment where the magic faded and it just never really came. If I was stressed, torn, or tired, Sky still always felt like a viable game to play, and it gives you just enough goals that I never felt like I wasn't doing anything when I logged in. Before I get to my biggest issue with this title, let me just say, Sky is basically a weird hybrid of Walking Simulator and MMO. There's several kinds of collectables spread across the world that range from flying upgrades to currency. You'll essentially bounce from one beautiful looking location to the next, gathering things and gaining access to spirit trees. Spirit trees can be found on both NPCs and other players you befriend. Unlockables range from hairstyles to emotes you can do with other players, like a high five or even a hug. When you're done goofing off with your friends, you can ascend to the final level, the Eye of Eden, in an event that was so genuinely neat that I'm going to keep the details sparse. Just know that it's better to take on with your pals while holding hands. It's cute and all, but holding someone's hand in-game became second fiddle to the flying. Soaring over a lush meadow was so freeing and fun that it easily ruined Breath of the Wild's paraglider for me, and naturally, Genshin Impact's as well. Jumping and flying feels good for the most part, yet some of the platforming segments reminded me how magnetic the jumping can really feel. And what I mean by that is, at times, your character really feels like he's glued to the ground with no way to take off, which is frustrating during some of the spirit challenges, yet it never becomes as big a deal as you'd think because Sky doesn't ever ask much of you. It doesn't demand perfect precision or task you with getting better for more difficult stages down the road. All it wants is for you to enjoy yourself and cozy up with your friends. And if that last sentence sounds disheartening, that's understandable because it's okay for not every game to be for everyone. The game side of this isn't as compelling as most titles out there. After you compile many hours, it can start to feel like each stage is an amusement park ride you've been on many times prior. Even so, I never felt like I was wasting my time going into a world I'd already been in. At the start of each day, Candlefire that replenishes your main currency becomes available again. And while artificial, I totally loved having an excuse to fly through my favorite areas all over again. At least, I love flying through my favorite areas when the game doesn't randomly stop me. And that finally brings me to my biggest problem with this game. Invisible walls in Sky are joy vampires, and some of the absolute worst I've seen in any video game. I really can't tell you how many times I was soaring through the clouds blissfully only to get bludgeoned over the head by a barrier or really strong gust of wind just to stay in the boundaries of the map. The high of climbing over a mountain peak to see that the other side is explorable is amazing. But it's equally disheartening when you start to realize that just because you can see an area doesn't necessarily mean you can go there. And one thing that's definitely not going to cheer you up right after getting hit by an invisible wall is the cutscenes. Similar to your annoying friend that constantly shows you videos you don't want to see, Sky is frequently tapping you on the shoulder to try and show you a cutscene you've already watched many times over. These usually consist of giant doors slowly opening, or some ancestor spirit frolicking and alluding to their past life. I'm sure it's enchanting the first couple of times, but not having a more elegant way to sidestep these cutscenes on multiple playthroughs is very, very taxing. All that aside, what do we make of Sky in light of all this? Well, the ending cues you into a progression loop that I thought was really, really clever. In fact, the wiki for this game is plastered with warnings not to look up or spoil it for yourself, and I highly advise you heed that advice. Because Sky marries Walking Sim and MMO in a way that works way better than it has any right to. And even if it has some fumbles here and there, the grace with which it sticks the landing is nothing short of amazing. Give this a go when you get the chance. It is free after all. Here's a video I did on Shovel Knight Pocket Edition. It's a very frequent thing to hear on here, yes, but since my videos don't get as much traction as they used to, I heavily rely on your comments, likes, and subscriptions to actually break the 100 view mark on all of my videos. So if you enjoyed what you saw today, please do so. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.